Hi, this is Steven Horne, and I'm here to talk to you about one of my favorite Nature Sunshine products, Zam Broza. To talk about this product, we first need to get a little background on to help us understand what this product can do for us. And so what I want to do is give you just a little teeny bit of chemistry lesson. Now, don't be scared. I've never taken a chemistry class in my life, so I promise this will be really straightforward. But oxidation is the process of adding oxygen to a molecule. And reduction is the process of removing oxygen from a molecule. So when something burns, it gets oxidized. Now, that's one way of looking at it, but another way of looking at it has to do with the idea of adding or gaining electrons. When an atom is oxidized, it loses an electron because oxygen likes to steal electrons from other compounds. When, on the other hand, it is reduced, it gains an electron, which kind of sounds backwards to me, but nonetheless, I'm not a chemist. But this form of oxidation and reduction can take place without oxygen. So in other words, oxygen isn't the only thing that can cause something to be oxidized or to be reduced. Well, oxidation and reduction are part of the biochemical processes that are going on all around us all the time. For example, as I mentioned, fire is a process of oxidation because when something is burning, it means it's being oxidized. So for example, when hydrogen burns, you have two molecules of hydrogen, and then you add molecules of oxygen, and they become water as it is oxidized. A similar process happens when things rust. You have iron, and when iron combines with oxygen, it becomes a compound called iron oxide or rust. Well, these processes are also going on in our body. Our body uses oxygenation or oxidation to a constructive purpose to allow us to burn or release the energy from carbohydrates, fats, and proteins to fuel our body. So, for example, when you take a molecule of glucose, which is carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, and you add oxygen to it, our bodies then convert that to carbon dioxide and water. And in the process of oxidizing that sugar, we release energy. Thus, the process of oxidation is absolutely essential for our survival. We need it. We can't live without it. But in any engine that is burning fuel, it's going to generate heat. In your car, as your car is taking oxygen in through the carburetor and using it to combust the fuel in your engine to create the energy to make the motor run, it's also giving off a lot of heat. Heat that can damage the parts of the engine and cause them to break down. So the car has to have a cooling system. It has to have a way of siphoning off that excess heat created by the oxidative process and to protect the engine from overheating. Antioxidants function in our body much the same way the cooling system in a car functions, by keeping the metabolic engine from overheating and causing damage to the body. Free radicals are molecules that are oxidized, meaning that they're missing an electron. And the body generates free radicals as part of the normal metabolism because it's taking electrons off of substances and using them to fuel processes in the body. The body also uses free radicals in the macrophages, the white blood cells in our immune system, to kill bacteria. So again, free radicals aren't completely bad. In fact, researchers implicate free radicals as certain cell signaling processes that are essential for our survival. However, these free radicals that are generated in the process of oxidation in our body have to be kept under control. Because if we get too much oxidative stress, that's if there's too much of this oxidative activity going on, and there are too many free radicals loose that aren't being sopped up by the antioxidant system of the body, we're going to experience kind of fire alarms. One of those would be our tongue will get red, our pulse will get more rapid, more superficial. We'll see red, irritated tissue in our body. Our complexion will be more red or ruddy or flushed. We'll have chronic low-grade aches and pains. We'll get tired, especially when we exercise. We'll feel groggy in the morning, and we just generally won't feel good. And I like the word malaise as a good way of explaining that. We feel this malaise. It's not that we're actually really sick in any way, we just don't really feel good. So, antioxidants are what keep good apples from going bad. You know, when you cut an apple in half, you're exposing the part that you cut to the effects of oxygen. And as the apple tissue begins to oxidize or burn up, it turns brown. Now, you can prevent that by putting something in that's an antioxidant, something that's going to soak up that oxygen and prevent it from interacting in a negative way with the tissues of the apple. So, for example, I do canning, and when I have canned apple stuff, as I cut up the apples, I put them into a big container with a little bit of citric acid or ascorbic acid, vitamin C, or you can also use a little bit of lemon juice or something like that, because that will keep the apples from turning brown until I'm ready to process them into applesauce or into apple juice or so forth. Because those substances, the lemon, the citric acid, and the ascorbic acid, are antioxidants. They are going to take and soak up the free radicals and inhibit the oxidative process from damaging that apple. Now, eventually, those antioxidants would wear out, because if I left those apples in that water with that little bit of acid in it too long, eventually the antioxidants would burn up and the apples would start to turn brown anyway. But at least for a little while, it slows it down. So the primary way we get antioxidants into our body is through fruits and vegetables. The very bright colors of fruits and vegetables are actually signals for various kinds of compounds that have antioxidant properties that are created by the plants, because the plants are also subject to the effects of oxygen and oxidation as well. So they have to generate these compounds in order to protect themselves from the effects of oxygen. And it just so happens that most of these compounds that the plants use as antioxidants are very strong pigments. And so one of the best ways we can protect our health is by eating lots of brightly colored fruits and vegetables. Many experts in the field of nutrition say that we should be getting at least 3 to 5 servings of fresh fruits and vegetables every day, if not even more, 5 to 7. However, research shows that most people only get 1 to 1.5 servings every day. Now, a serving is approximately a half a cup, so that's not much. A cup and a half of fruits and vegetables every day is not going to give us the antioxidant power that we need to protect our body. And again, ideally, that's what all of us should be doing if we want to be healthier. But we get busy and we don't always take time to eat right, and I know how that goes. So, one of the important things is that while there are many nutrients that act as antioxidants, antioxidants work together in a kind of a teamwork fashion. When an antioxidant donates an electron to a free radical, it will remain stable for a little while, but eventually it will destabilize and become a free radical itself. So the new antioxidant then needs a more powerful antioxidant to replenish it. Nature accomplishes this feat by pairing antioxidants together so that they recycle or replenish each other. For example, in plants, vitamin C is always found in combination with bioflavonoids. So the bioflavonoids help to replenish the vitamin C so it can be more stable and work for a longer period of time. Thus, no single antioxidant nutrient works as well as a whole complex of antioxidant nutrients that are put together, as are found in herbs and foods. So this, again, as I said, is a process of the plants, the bright colors of the fruits and vegetables protecting them. But even if you are eating these fresh fruits and vegetables, there is a problem that most of the fresh fruits and vegetables are not coming straight to our table from the farm. Here in the US where I live, the average piece of produce found in the supermarket is about 14 days old because it takes that long to get it from the farm into the grocery store shelf. I know that over in the UK, many of the fruits and vegetables come from other parts of Europe and likely take similar lengths of time to get to the supermarket shelf. The problem is during all this time, these plants are being exposed to the effects of oxygen, and much of their antioxidant capability is being broken down or diminished because that breakdown begins within hours after harvest. So again, in modern society, it's become increasingly difficult for people to get the antioxidant nutrients they need. Here's an example of what I'm talking about with antioxidants and why we want to look for things that have varying colors to basically give us a variety of antioxidants. Yellow colors can come from things like violazanthin, uh, beta-xanthin, zeaxanthin, and lutein. Lutein is a saffron kind of color, a little bit going towards the orange side, that gives egg yolks their color and is also found in green vegetables. Comes from corn, but is also found in green vegetables. Um, Beta-xanthin is from beets, and most green leafy vegetables also contain the yellow pigment violazanthin. That's one of the reasons why many leaves turn yellow in the fall, is because once the chlorophyll is gone, the other pigments that are yellow remain. Now, carotenoids are the primary pigments that make plants have orange colors. So things like carrots and apricots and peaches and squash and sweet potatoes have carotenoids, which are very, very valuable antioxidants and include beta carotene, which is a precursor to vitamin A. Red pigments come from things like lycopene, which is found not only in tomatoes, which it's most famous for, but also watermelon and pink grapefruit. Astaxanthin, I really have a hard time pronouncing some of these chemicals sometimes because, like I say, I'm not a chemist, but it's a compound found in red fish. However, farm-raised fish lacking this nutrient are fed it in order to be able to give them some color. Capsanthin and another compound make certain peppers red, and anthocyanins are what color things like cranberries, red onions, red apples, red cabbage, and red grapes. Anthocyanins are also responsible for blue and purple colors in plants, such as blueberries, eggplant, elderberries, and black currants. There are some pigments that are, or antioxidants that are colorless, that are not pigments. Proanthocyanins, which are found in red grapes, blueberry, hawthorn, ginkgo, and green tea, are colorless, as are oligomeric proanthocyanins, or OPCs, which are found in things like grape seeds and pine bark. But you can see why it's important to pick a lot of brightly colored fruits and vegetables if we want to be healthy. Now that we understand the importance of antioxidants, let's talk about a measurement of the ability of compounds to absorb free radicals. One of these measurements is called ORAC, oxygen reducing radical absorption capacity. It's used to determine the effectiveness of various antioxidants. So you see right there that rosemary and turmeric and sage as herbs are actually quite high in ORAC value. Cocoa powder and unsweetened baking chocolate are also very high antioxidants and actually are very beneficial as long as you don't dump a bunch of sugar in them. Once you put a lot of sugar in it and make a dark chocolate candy, it reduces the ORAC capacity of it. Cayenne and raw pomegranates also have a fairly high ORAC capacity. So we want to try to, again, choose foods that have a high ORAC capacity. Well, one of the ways that we can increase our antioxidants is by using this product that I'm talking about today, Zambroza. Zambroza has been tested and found to have an extremely high ORAC value compared to similar products. and it actually has been certified, at least here in the US, for its ORAC value, which is something that I haven't seen in any other product. The ingredients in Zambroza include very high antioxidant fruits such as mangosteen, grape fruit skin and seeds, blueberries, uh, red raspberries, wolfberries, and apples, and also green tea, which contains those compounds I mentioned that are colorless. Mangosteen is one of the key ingredients in this, and it's a delicious tropical fruit that's very high in antioxidant compounds called xanthones. Um, Xanthones are highest in concentration in the rind of this fruit, not the pulp of the fruit, which is why some of that is included in this. There is research on xanthones showing that they can help to modify allergic reactions. They can cool down irritation in the system. There are many studies that have been done on the benefits of xanthones as helping with a variety of health problems in human beings. And all of this is related to their ability to help cool down this irritation to the tissues by adding antioxidant power. Grapes are another really good source of antioxidants. Ancient alchemists believed that the grape was in the highest order of the plant kingdom because of the ability that grapes had to make wine. The fruit of the grapes are very alkalizing to the body and help to clear out acid waste. Now, acid waste, a lot of people hear about this acid alkaline thing, is actually highly related to what we're talking about in terms of free radical damage. Because remember that I mentioned in the process of generating energy, the body is going to create free radicals or compounds that have been uh, oxidized. So one of the byproducts of metabolism is acid. Um, that's because acid is a predominance of hydrogens missing an electron, which are hungry to go find an electron. And so acid has to be flushed out of the system, which is the job of the kidneys, and trying to drink plenty of water to keep the kidneys working well. Well, there are some foods that also assist that process of flushing that residual waste of the acid producing thing of metabolism out of the body, and grapes are one of them. Grape seeds, which you're not going to get, of course, if you're eating seedless grapes, contain very powerful antioxidant compounds called oligomeric procyanidins, or OPCs for short. And these are marvelous antioxidant compounds that have great protective effects on the body. So you want, if for the antioxidant value, to get the seeds and the skins, not just the grape pulp. In fact, it's been a long tradition that eating grapes is actually a general way to just cure the body in general. Um, Juliet of the Herbs recommended the grape cure when the human body was become sick almost beyond reasonable hope of recovery. And the cure consisted of living off just fresh, unsprayed grapes, with also eating a few of the grape leaves and tendrils. And many other famous healers have used a diet of grapes to help the body recover from many chronic ailments. Because again, they're very nourishing, they have a high auric capacity, especially if you're including the seeds as part of that, and they also help to remove the residual acid waste out of the body. Blueberries are another fruit that has anthocyanins and has been traditionally used to help maintain normal blood sugar levels, to prevent oxidation of fats, and to protect capillaries. Native Americans would take fruits like blueberries and crush them up with dehydrated meat and fat to make a survival food called pemmican. Now, I've tried pemmican and I really didn't think it tasted all that great, but it was the berries, like the blueberries, that were added to the dehydrated meat and fat that preserved it because of their oxidative potential and gave those, as that survival food, its antioxidant properties and its nutrients that it needed to make it a healthy substance. Raspberries are also very cooling and very nourishing, and traditionally have been used, at least the leaf, as a tonic for both the female and the male reproductive system. The raspberries themselves are thought to nourish the blood, and they're very cooling and refreshing, as anyone knows who has ever eaten raspberries. And that cooling action, again, is a sign of oxygen reducing capacity, or the ability to scavenge free radicals. Wolfberry, which is also in Zambroza, um, it's also been called lycium or goji berries. This is a food that's very high in vitamin C, one of the highest vitamin C sources in the world, and has uh, demonstrated that it contains certain flavonoids that have hepatoprotective properties, which mean they help to protect the liver from being damaged by environmental toxins and chemicals. They were traditionally used in Chinese medicine to cool the blood or to relieve conditions involving heat and irritation, which again, as we've discussed, is something that's typical of things that are high in their ability to neutralize free radicals and cool tissues down. Other ingredients in Zambrosia include bioflavonoids, which I mentioned work synergistically with vitamin C, green tea, which is a very significant source of antioxidant polyphenols, and apples, which are a very nourishing fruit, traditionally used to help the liver and improve digestion. And we all probably have heard the saying, the apple a day keeps the doctor away. Uh, so again, it's the antioxidant capabilities that make many of these things so valuable to our health and nutrition. So I want to tell you a couple about my favorite ways to use Zambroza. I live in St. George, Utah. It's a desert climate. As I'm recording this, it's the middle of summer, and we've had many weeks when the temperature has been over 100 degrees, as high as 110. When I have to go outside and do some work in the yard or in my garden, I get really hot. Now, I didn't develop this idea first for myself. I had someone who was actually installing air conditioning in the middle of the summer, and they were getting overheated and suffering from some heat exhaustion. So I came up with this recipe. They tried it, it worked really well, and so I started using it on me when I have to work out in the heat, and it works wonderfully well in just cooling down the body. It's so refreshing and kind of invigorating. So after I've been outside and in the heat, I could feel really tired and exhausted. Come back in and take this, and I just feel energized again. One of the things that you want to keep in mind is that this acid alkaline thing, oxidant antioxidant thing, also has to do with energy. Antioxidants have extra electrons to donate, and that means that they're more alkaline. And alkaline compounds have electrons to donate to give us energy. Acid compounds, or free radicals, things that are hungry for electrons, are actually diminishing the body's energy stores. So when you do something like this, it really helps pick up your energy. So what I do is I make fresh lemonade. I squeeze lemons, then I take and add an equal amount of real maple syrup. You could also use honey. It's a little harder to get it dissolved, but you can, stir it up and get it to dissolve, or put it in a blender. And then I put that and I add a little bit of Zambroza to that, and I basically make up a drink of what I call Zambroza lemonade. And it's, like I say, it's really refreshing and cooling, and it's also very cleansing to the system. A lot of these things, the lemon and the mangosteen and the lycium, are really good for our liver, which is often highly overworked in this society where we're exposed to so many environmental toxins. Here's another one that I've used. In fact, one of the times when I was in the UK and we were recording, and the jet lag and everything was getting to me, this was the little pickup we used. Equal parts of Zambroza and liquid chlorophyll, which helps to oxygenate your blood and pick up your energy, and has a little bit of antioxidant capability itself. And you drink that for a quick and natural energy pickup. And that isn't going to spike your blood sugar levels, because Zambroza is not a high glycemic substance, so it's not going to pick up your blood sugar and cause your blood sugar crash. So these are just a couple of ideas about using this product. It's a great way to supplement in general, to get more antioxidant nutrients to improve your health. So enjoy the product, and I hope that you're able to get something of value out of this about what you can do to protect your health and also help other people to get better health as well. Thank you.